Hey everybody, what's going on? Wow, you guys started at the same time. Facebook and Instagram live at the exact same moment. No delay. Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. I thought it was Monday all day until all day. I mean, I've only been up for a couple of hours, but I thought it was Monday until just about an hour or two ago, which is always disorienting. And I shared this on my Instagram story this morning. But man, I am feeling so beat up by this current situation that we're in. And I know, doesn't it seem like we're always talking about the intensity? And I think just generally speaking, shit's intense, it has been intense, and it's gonna be intense. I think we are, sort of the way I keep thinking of it is we're just kind of learning how to climb Mount Everest, right? We are ascending to a peak in our experience, in our relationship with ourselves, and just the world at large. We're coming to a place that we have not really been hanging out in before, right? So in many ways, we are going beyond anything that we have ever done before. And it is intense. Like, imagine trying to learn how to climb Mount Everest. It's gonna be an intense experience. It's gonna mean showing up and doing the work. It's gonna mean, time and time again, just, practice and practice and practice. But I have felt, what it's like we have 1,000 planets in Scorpio right now, which is always super watery and emotional. And Scorpio always, asks us to dive really, really deep into those shadowy, murky parts of the waters of our inner landscape. So, I love Scorpio energy. I have a lot of friends who are Scorpio, but man, most of my planets are in Libra and in Virgo. So I like to hang out on the earth and in the air. And so diving deep into the water, I'm just like, oh, Jesus, this again? And then, the full moon is tomorrow, which I think is going to be a really powerful full moon. I mean, I know it is. I feel just pummeled by these energies. And then still Venus in retrograde, which, excuse me, I know is bringing up tons of issues for so many of us, which is sort of what has inspired this video. Not just Venus retrograde, but the sort of the amalgamation and the combination of energies and influences and alignments and blah, 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 that's just really coming at us from all sides. So thumbs up, heart emoji, poop emoji, rainbow emoji, unicorn sliding down a rainbow, Jesus riding a unicorn sliding down a rainbow, whatever emoji. If you're with me on this, if you're just feeling like, I don't know which end is up, I don't know which way is forward, I don't know, whatever. And I really, I call this reorientation through disorientation. And so that's why I wanted to hop on. Excuse me, and I can't even talk. Is there like major throat chakra being cleared or something? I wanted to chat with you guys about what's happening, or chat with everyone about what's happening, because I know it's super intense. And I'm always getting sort of clues and cues through my client sessions. And it's always beautiful to see the synchronicity of how my clients, or people that I work with, come in sort of batches and in waves, not to sort of, lump everyone together or minimize anyone's individual experience. But I was at the House of Intuition on this past day, Saturday, and I was doing readings there, and I had a pretty full day. I think I did like 7 or 8 readings that day. And every single person, I kid you not, when we sit down and, I'm like, okay, so what brought you in, blah, 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 and we're chatting about what their intentions are, what brought them to the reading, and every single one of them, I feel lost, I feel stuck, my relationship's falling apart, my job is this, my money has, come to a halt. Like, everyone was feeling lost, everyone was feeling stuck, everyone was feeling like, what is happening in my life? It just feels like shit is imploding and going sideways. And so I know that we are not alone. So thumbs up if this has been your experience in some way. Because we're all being challenged, and that's what Venus in retrograde is all about, is our relationship with ourselves reflected through the other. What I mean by that is, the truth is that we're all connected, right? We're all pulling from the same well, we're all drinking and eating from the same pot, we all come from the same place, and we all return to the same place. So there really is only one of us, and how we see and know ourselves is through an individuated experience. So it's all about understanding that our external world, our relationships, our environment, our life, whenever we just survey the physical external world, it is always showing us what's going on in some way. It's showing us what's going on in here. So, Venus in retrograde in terms of the relationship with ourselves as it is mirrored through the other means the other is out here. Right? The other is you as my partner or my boss, or the other is my relationship with money or my relationship with my body or my relationship with my belief system and how that manifests. So it is really, really intense right now. I know it is, and I'm with you. And I was having lunch with a friend yesterday and I was like, girl, I just feel like pummeled from every direction. Like it is inescapable. And if you read my article that I recently posted entitled The Current Cycle, it's on my website on the blog, andrewmartin.energy. I also have it posted on my Facebook. It's pretty low on my Facebook page because I've been doing my 30 videos in 30 days challenge. So there's a lot of content that's on the feed. So if you just look for the post that has like the Nautilus shell is the image. But it was a channeled message that I received from my guides the other day after a client session. I was doing one of my mentorship clients. And this new information started to come in while I was working with her, and it was so much information just about how we work through levels of energy and how shifting and expansion occurs in our form and in our physical experience. And right now we are in this phase where it is happening on the physical level. So we are being physically challenged to release and clear a lot of these programs, much of which is not new to us, right? I can say very clearly that none of the issues that I am dealing with are new to me. Like it's my stuff. But my relationship with it is what has changed. My experience and understanding of it is what has changed. And I know that anytime anything recycles or recurs through our experience, it's not because we have been punished. It's not because we didn't learn the lesson. Part of it is that we haven't learned the lesson completely. But often really what it is that we have new information, and so now we have a new experience with our stuff, and so we see it through a new set of eyes, which really ultimately translates to we're given an opportunity to see it with more compassion, to see it more unconditionally, and to be in more acceptance and surrender to it, to not be in resistance. Which, by the way, really quickly, I want to talk about the Mastery Mentorship Program. I know that many of you have reached out to me saying, hey, I would love to be a part of this program, but I can't afford it. So I have temporarily reduced the program by 25%. And I still have the payment plan available. So if anyone has been interested in the Mastery Mentorship Program, which I love to talk about because it is next level shit. If you want to talk about transformation, if you want to talk about getting real with yourself and finding that core inner space and rooting into that truth so that everything out here then falls in line, that's what this program is all about. So you can go to my website, andrewmartin.energy, or click the Linktree link if you're on Instagram. There's an option for Mastery Mentorship, and book your intake call, and we can do this work together. But I'm really, really excited to be able to offer this at a discounted rate because it's become very clear to me that we are all in this phase of like, oh my God, I need some help. I need some guidance. I got to find myself again, right? I got to come back to myself. And that's really what so much of Venus retrograde is where in your life are you not looking at yourself clearly? Where in your life are you not really being honest completely with what's going on? And on top of that, the fact that we are going through much of what we have already experienced, and thumbs up or heart emoji if you're feeling that, like, what the WTF is happening? This is like Groundhog Day. Here goes the parade of my issues, my exes, my old stuff, my old beliefs. Once again, here we are in the merry-go-round of my past and of my history. Much of it is because we are clearing it on the physical level. And what I mean by that is a lot of the stuff we're like, I already have an idea of this. I already spiritually or energetically or emotionally understand this, but now it's the body's turn. Because on the energy train, everything starts first as an energetic impulse. It is an idea, it is a thought, it is an epiphany, it is an inspiration, or it is just a shift in perspective. And then as it sort of moves into our reality and densifies and slows down in energy, it turns into a physical thing. So by the time things manifest in form, it is old news. I say, this is one of my favorite analogies is, what was the first step in building the airplane? Not cutting down the tree, not, melting the metal to the first step, not even drawing the plan. The first step in building the airplane was, I wonder what it would be like to fly like the birds. That is the first step in manifestation. So the idea of it is the first step of manifestation. The desire of it is the first step of manifestation. So I think it's important to remember that it starts in the non-physical. It starts in a higher frequency. It starts in a higher place. And the desire for it is evidence that it is on its way. Did you hear me say that, right? The desire for something is us speaking through ourselves saying, hey, what about this? Hey, what would it be like to fly like the birds? Hey, what about this? Hey, what if you did this? So when it manifests as an idea, it eventually comes into physical form. And so that's where we are. It's in physical form. Our issues, our stuff, our relationships with our body, with our money, with our lovers, with ourselves, with the world at large, with the political stage, with the leaders, which the matriarchy, the patriarchy, all of it is coming up for review. And it is coming up for review in the way that best serves you to remember, here's the key, you are the one that is here to heal yourself. Are you hearing me here? You are the one that is here to heal yourself. And the way that we do that oftentimes is by reaching out and saying, help, I don't know how to do this. Help, I need help. And that's why, we rely so much on one another right now. That's why I know I am seeing so many people come to me like, help, I don't know what's going on. What the hell? Because my job as a healer, and our job really as humans on this planet, as we awaken, as we come into the realization of who and what we are, and we say like, oh God, the key to my health and my healing and my wellness has always been in my hand. Maybe I just don't know how to use it. So I was talking with my friend yesterday, and this is where the idea for this video came. And we were saying, and she's Harriet and the Star. If you're on Instagram, follow her. She's amazing. She's lovely. She's a wonderful, beautiful, bright human being. And we were talking about it, and we were like, those of us who have walked the path of service in this lifetime, those of us who are healers or helpers or whatever, whether it's, a spiritual manifestation of that or another way that we heal, we oftentimes, I know for myself, I can speak to my own experience, is that I had to learn how to heal myself first, so that I then in turn can share how I did that with the world. To me, the formula, if you want to change the world, heal yourself and then show others how you did it. Because if we have enough people share, and here's the thing, ultimately your relationship and your journey of healing is your own. No one can tell you how to do it. But what I can do is offer up how I did it and show you what worked for me. And that gives you at least a template or a set of tools to go, oh, okay, well, that's not really for me because that wasn't really my issue, but I can pick up this piece and that works for me. And I can pick up that piece and that works for me. And this sounds interesting, or what you said may inspire me to go on my own journey of seeking. So if you want to change the fucking world, change yourself first. And this is why I always talk about, and this was in the 30 videos in 30 days, one of the questions that was sent to me, which I'm going to record a video about, was like, well, isn't that selfish? Isn't it selfish to put yourself first? No, that's how it works. If I need healing, I gotta find it within myself. And sure, I need the journey out here. I go seeking, and I collect information and I get insight and support from other people. And I see versions or examples of how it was done. And then I bring all that to me and I open it up and I go, all right, what works here? What doesn't work here? What is for me? What is not for me? So that's how we do it. So where we are right now is the more intensity that we are experiencing, the more chaos we are experiencing, it is because that to me is always a proportion, like in direct proportion to how much we're ready to let go of. And what I mean by that is the higher self, the creator self, the true self, whatever you call it, the soul, the spirit. That is us as well. So when I talk about, sometimes when I say we do these things to ourselves, it doesn't come from like a level of Andrew saying, oh, I'm going to fucking implode my life and blow it all apart and then be lost for 4 fucking years. Yeah, let's do that. No, that is coming from my creator self saying, okay, it's time for the version of me that I call Andrew to go through this experience, and he's ready to level up. He's ready to go to, this next level of experience. So I'm going to start sending him these impulses and these experiences, and I'm going to call it to him, which he is really me. Here's how I look at it. The human self is to the soul what the thumb is to the body, right? The thumb is moving on its own saying, ooh, look at me, I'm a thumb. I'm independent. I'm doing my own thing. I'm making my own choices. And then the higher self, the body says, okay, well, now it's time to go here and do this. So I know that's a little bit of a rudimentary example, but that's how I look at it. You are not separate from your creator self. So when we talk about you are the creator of your own reality, you are the one that is creating your experience. And people will say, no, I'm not. I didn't fucking want to be broke. I didn't want to fucking be in this relationship with this asshole. No, I didn't want to have this boss who bleeds me dry and depletes me and I hate my job. No, not from your conscious level. No, you didn't wake up and go, ooh, I can't wait for my life to suck today. Let's get to it. Yay. No. It is coming from you in your creator self level. It is coming from you in the higher sense. So yeah, you did choose it in that way. So no, it doesn't negate the humanness of your experience, and it doesn't mean that your frustration or your sadness or your fear is not less important or less real. But what it does mean is that you are connected to the source of your experience. So if that's the case, then you can say, well, if I created it, then I can resolve it. If I broke it, then I can fix it. And the gift of chaos is really the title that was floating around in my head this morning as I was meditating and saying, okay, we're going to do a video today. What's it going to look like? What's it going to sound like? And the message I keep hearing was, well, it's the gift of chaos. So the gift of chaos is that we, from our creator self level, oftentimes shatter our experience because we are ready to move beyond it. And so oftentimes the thing that reawakens our sense of our creator abilities, because, you know, this is how I look at it, is the Earth School is not fucking kindergarten. The Earth School is like PhD level, super, ultra high, like the highest level that you can achieve, because this is a funky, challenging, dense experience to be a part of. And as a limitless being who chose to come play in the field of limitation, which is what this, this dense earthbound environment is that it was here so that we could go, man, I am such a powerful creator. I'm ready to go to the master level school called Earth, and I'm going to get ready to fuck shit up so that I can put it back together. So, and we humans are a funny bunch. We often talk about how much we want change and how much we want to move on and how much we want to grow. And then what happens? We're given the opportunity. The door is opened. The threshold is presented. And we go, oh, no, I don't want to change. No, I'm good. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's better to be in an unhappy relationship than it is to be alone. Right? We say, well, I want a sign. And then we get a sign and we go, well, I didn't want that sign. I wanted the sign that let me to, it would allow me to continue ignoring my pain. I wanted the sign that would allow me to still sort of have my head, looking over here. Just pretend it's not there. Pretend it's not there. I wanted the sign that would let me throw, glitter on a turd and call it a diamond. No, girl, that's not how it works. So, yes, your experience may be difficult. Yes, your experience may be challenging. Yes, it might be fucking painful and excruciating, and you might be in the fetal position just like, ugh, just like not even able to move. But you brought yourself to it so that you could remember how freaking powerful you really are. The Olympic athlete does not get to the Olympics and go, oh, this is hard. I didn't know there were going to be so many other people here. I wanted to be the #1 swimmer on the planet, but I didn't know it was going to be hard. No. The Olympic athlete is like, fuck yeah, come on. This is the best of the best that I am swimming against. I am here to see how far I can go. I am here to see how far I can reach. I am here to see how high I can jump, how bright I can be, how big I can be, how beautiful I can be, and how many other people I can be an example for. This is the other key thing right now. There are almost 8 billion of us on this planet. And I would say this many of us, probably less than 0.5%, are even aware of what a spiritual awakening is, are even aware of the spiritual language that we so often take for granted. I oftentimes feel like spiritual community. I love my spiritual people, but we're oftentimes just yelling to ourselves. We're standing in an echo chamber talking to each other about what we know and what we think, and we're going, oh, aren't we so clever? And we're just pleased with one another and with ourselves. But that's not why we came to do it. Sure, yes, it's important to heal ourselves, but remember that it's also at some point ready to take it forward and say, okay, how can I share this with the world? How can I share this with other people? How can I help other people learn what I have learned, or at least be able to show what I have learned? And one of the most powerful ways that we do it is by our example. Think of that little kid watching the Olympics and seeing that amazing individual just go to the peak of their physical conditioning and to challenge themselves on every single level, to be in that world stage under that spotlight with so much intense pressure. The world is watching you. And that kid says, oh my God, I want to be that great. I want to be that grand. I can do that. So we live oftentimes through the clarity of our example. And people ask me all the time, but how do I share? How do I do it? How do I get out there? Just by doing you and doing it in integrity and honesty. I will share with you what I mean by that is I get emails and messages from people all of the time who tell me, I've been watching you for years. I've been listening to you for years. I've never booked a session. I have never commented. I have never, they've just been silently on the sidelines watching. And eventually they're like, something you said just sparked in me the desire to begin my own journey. So that is how I shared with them. That is how I inspired them. That is how I showed them. And I had no idea I was even doing it. Right? It's very easy to say, well, I got this client and I got that client, or I don't have clients right now, or I don't have enough people, I don't have enough likes and shares and follows, and I may not, that means I'm not doing it right, or I'm unsuccessful, or whatever. No, you have no idea how you are affecting people just by living your truth and showing that it is possible. Because let's be honest, we live in a world where the truth has not been elevated. We live in a world where, don't be on the outside, be like everybody else, homogenized. It's like we all are looking the same and sounding the same and acting the same. And we as humans who are a tribal being, we have this urge within us to be in a group, to be in a tribe, because that's what we have, in the past equated with safety. And this idea of community is important. So no one wants to be the first one to step out of line. No one wants to be the weirdo. No one wants to be the one who's on the fringes of the world. We all want to belong, and that's a beautiful, wonderful thing. But oftentimes to live our truth, it requires great bravery and great courage to step away from the crowd, to move against the stream of what the world is telling you is acceptable. And you're going, well, you keep telling me that this is acceptable, but it doesn't feel like truth to me, and only I know what truth feels like, so I got to do my own thing. It's like you're standing in a room full of 100 people, all just waiting for someone to speak their truth so that they can go, oh, finally, now I can just stop pretending. So, living through the clarity of your example is the first way that you begin to show people what's possible. And there's also another piece to this. Energetically, we have no way of knowing what we are affecting. And when we are standing in our truth and standing in our power, because again, everything is connected, everything affects everything. And so when I'm vibrating at a frequency of truth and love and compassion and power, and I'm just lighting myself up, and I'm just like, a pillar of flame and energy and light and love, just walking down the street, you're making a difference. Just standing in your coffee shop, just sitting at your desk at work, you are making a difference. Whether or not you are aware of it, you are causing a ripple in the unified field. You are causing a ripple in what's going on around you, and you come into contact with people. And I hear this all the time in my life. Andrew, when I was, before I was sort of on this awakening journey and before I really knew what it was that I came here to do, people would tell me all of the time, Andrew, I just love being around you. You always know what to say. You always have a sense of what's going on. It just feels so safe to be with you or whatever. And I just always thought that I was a really good listener, and that's part of it. But what I see now is that the energy just that I was putting off when I was in my truth and I was in my frequency of alignment with myself, that is infectious. It's just the same thing as someone who's bitter and angry and like caustic and toxic all day. Just being around them, you're like, ugh, I don't want to be around that energy. It just feels gross. It's too much work to stay positive because it's just like this, this scent in the air. It's kind of like when you have dog poop on the bottom of your shoe and you're like, what is that smell? I smell it somewhere. And you're just like, what is it? And you see it's like the teeniest, tiniest little chunk of poo, but it infects everything, right? And you can smell it no matter where you go. So it's the same thing. When we find our light and we find our joy and we find our alignment and our flow, that just permeates everything. That expands outward like throwing a big stone in a pond, and it just creates a ripple. So don't forget, don't underestimate how powerful it is for you to be healing yourself and finding your own truth, because what that does is energetically it gives people a sign that, hey, it's okay. It's your turn now. It's safe to do that. Okay, you can be yourself. And the more of us that are awake and the more of us that are shining brightly and consciously and visibly, the more people see us. So it's really important right now that we are getting really, really, really clear with what's going on in here, and that we are using this Venus retrograde, which goes direct. I believe it's November 5th she moves direct, and that should be finally a relief. There's another thing that I think is important to talk about here is, what are we doing to manage ourselves in the midst of this intensity? And it is all about coming back to basics, y'all. It is all about, excuse me. It is all about coming back to our spiritual practice. Because, what I know for myself is that when things are going really, really well, when life is flying high and I'm just moving and grooving and everything's in the flow, it's so easy for me to forget my spiritual practice, right? It's like, oh, I don't need to meditate today. Oh, I haven't journaled in a couple of days. And before I know it, it's been 3 days and then 3 weeks and then 3 months. So what I have rediscovered for myself is that structure and that stability that it brings to me, that it allows me to create a space where I can get my head on straight and I can really, really see myself first before I greet the day and my clients and do these live streams and record videos for you. It just gives me a space where I can hear my own voice, where I can feel my own energy, where I can connect with my own truth. So getting back to basics right now is super important. What that means for me is meditating. Now I've started meditating twice a day. So I do my 15-20 minutes in the morning and my 15-20 minutes in the evening. Getting back to writing down my goals. I don't have my journal with me, it's back there, but I just started writing again in my journal and just saying, okay, what do I want for myself? What do I want to manifest for myself? What is my next level that I want to achieve or sort of expand towards, And also, my practice is super important, but it's also, okay, but what are my own personal goals? My practice is not my whole life. And that's one thing that I've been contending with, is realizing that, oh my God, I pour so much of into my practice, and my practice gets the best of me, and I feel like I get the rest of me. So trying to find a balance, that's what Venus retrograde is asking me to find, is okay, boo, where do you give and give and give and forget to include yourself in that giving? So getting back to meditating, getting back to journaling. And what I have found, you guys, I have to tell you is, it was 2 or 3 days ago that I really sat down and meditated for the first time in a long time with the intention to really get into it. Sometimes I feel like my meditation is sort of just perfunctory. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit here for 15 minutes, breathe, breathe, breathe. But the whole time my head's like, okay, what do I gotta do today? What clients do I have today? What videos do I have to do today? So it's like, even though I look like I'm meditating, I'm not really allowing myself to come to stillness and using the discipline that I know I require to quiet the mind. And I can't tell you guys how powerful the energies that have been coming in are lately. Like when the energies are really, really big and really powerful and new information is coming in, like I get this weird thing when I go really deep into meditation, I do this twitchy eye thing, and it's almost like I'm just receiving lots of information, and it's almost speed reading is the best way I can describe it. And that's been happening a lot with my meditations the past few days. So I know there's new stuff coming in. So I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just going to open up to receive it. So it's exciting again. And I get back to the joy of meditating. I'm like, I love this. So getting back to basics is super crucial, because that's what brings us back to ourselves. And that's the other thing here, is that what are we using oftentimes to keep us from ourselves? And what I mean by that is, are we, stuffing or numbing or avoiding through behaviors or food or compulsions or, old addictive behaviors or patterns or whatever? So be really, really clear. If I'm choosing something that temporarily is a fix, that temporarily makes me feel better, it's not a solution. What it actually does is it sort of stops the journey back to self, because here I come back to self, back to self, back to self, and something comes up as I'm, allowing myself to come back into myself. And if you watched my last video, the October, the emotional congruence, y'all know I shared the relationship that I had just been through, and it brought me to tears sharing it with you. And thank you, by the way, for your love and your support and your comments, because it meant the world to me to receive that support and that love for you. And for those of you that this struck a chord with, I feel you. My dears, I am with you. I know what it's like to be in those toxic, funky relationships. And so a lot of my journey lately has been just really coming back to myself. And on the journey back to myself, sometimes something comes up that I need to look at or feel or acknowledge or have compassion for, or just let it, rise up and open up within me. And the temptation to use something to numb it or stop it, because that's our natural inclination, is to go, oh, that feels, I don't want to feel that, right? That feels painful, that feels sad, or that feels fearful or whatever, and I don't want to feel that. So we oftentimes temporarily choose something to make us feel better. But all that does is it's like 3 steps back on the path. And that's not coming from a place of judgment. It's not like the man with the white beard sitting up in the chair in the sky going, you did bad, you were naughty. No, it's just you are coming back to yourself, and there's part of you that needs your attention and needs your love and acknowledgement. And if it's kind of hard to look at or to feel that pain or that wound or that old behavior, that old belief, it's not because you did something wrong. It's just that, think about it, like, okay, if this were a little child who was coming to me and crying and saying, I'm sad, you wouldn't just give them a cookie, right? You would say, well, what's going on, honey? Feel it, open up, let me hear it. You wouldn't just deny them. So think of yourself in that same way, that when part of you, when you're feeling pain or you're feeling sadness or you're feeling fear or guilt or whatever, that's just a part of you that needs you to love it. That's just a part of you that's saying, hey, I don't feel clear, or I don't feel safe, or I don't feel worthy, or I don't feel happy. So just acknowledge it. Just feel it. Just let it open up inside you. And once you let it open up, that's when it softens. So I know, and I raise my hand, throughout my life, look, if I could drink it, I would. If I could smoke it, I would. If I could snort it, I did. If I could suck it, I would. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, literally, well, not rock and roll really, sex, drugs, sex, shopping, food, all of it, anything that I could do to numb it, I've tried it. And so I understand that sort of urge or that temptation to go there, because the mind says, oh, well, this made us feel better last time, so let's do that again. Because the mind thinks it's protecting us by keeping us from feeling these things. It thinks it's doing us a service. But the heart says, no, honey. The key to getting over this pain is to go through it. The only way out is in. The only way out is through. So it's about allowing ourselves, while we're in this intense passage, while the intensity of this Venus retrograde and like the however many thousands of planets in Scorpio right now and the full moon tomorrow, there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of tension right now. There's a lot of forces that feel very opposing. And we're seeing this also played out on the stage, the polarization of, especially in the US, the polarization of the political parties, the polarization of the voices that are seeking to be heard is a beautiful reflection of what's going on inside of us. And here's the key. When we have this chaos swirling around us as things are falling apart, when we have these opposites that feel like they're pulling us apart, the key to balance is the center, right? If I've got these two opposing forces that can't find balance, the key is in the center. It's like a seesaw, it's like a teeter-totter, it's like the scales. The fulcrum is the key. You are the fulcrum. So you got to come back to your center, right? What's the safest place in the hurricane? The eye, the center, the eye of the hurricane, the center of the hurricane. That's where I can be safe, in the center of it, and observe the chaos as it's swirling around me and understand, like, okay, I'm in the center here. Yeah, wow, look at this intensity. Oh my God, look at this chaos. Woo, look at this pain. Look at this fear. Look at this anxiety rising up within me. Look at this part of me that wants to run and run and run and never look back. Look at this part of me that is desperate to escape. Look at this part of me that just wants more than anything to be free from this pain and will do anything and try anything. But what's the one thing we haven't tried? Coming back to self. What we're really looking for is ourselves. That is the medicine that we seek, is ourself. Because we have been separated from our truth. We have separated ourselves from ourself. And it could be for a million reasons, right? You were told that you were worthless. You were told that you were horrible. You were physically abused, emotionally abused, whatever. And it's not to discount that that happened and that that was a horrible, tragic thing. Trust me, I understand it. I've been there. But ultimately and eventually, I had to realize, oh my God, I have tried everything. I have literally tried everything. And the one thing I haven't tried is allowing myself to come back home. So as this intensity continues for the next few weeks and then Venus goes direct, and P.S., I'm not trying to say like, oh, November 5th, woo, it's all sunshine and roses. No, it is going to be intense because what did I say in the beginning? We are in the midst of climbing Mount Everest. There will be moments of like, oh, okay, we can sit and breathe now. There will be points of like, oh, this isn't so bad, but we're on a journey to the top, my friends. And that is an intense journey. This is the Earth experience is not chutes and ladders. Like I said, we came here for an experience that is commensurate with our ability as master creators. And so that's what we're getting. And we are creating it for ourselves so that we can remember the truth of who we are. We can remember how powerful we really are. So allow it to happen, allow it to occur. Act as you are inspired to act. Again, this isn't about inaction either. This isn't just sitting back and going, oh, look at all the suffering, and then just sort of, turning the other cheek. It is about allowing yourself to feel and see and experience what you need and acknowledge what you need to experience and acknowledge within yourself, and then let that guide you to inspiration of how to act and what to do. But it all starts with being first. And so being with yourself, and being still and being present and taking the time, even if it's 5 minutes a day, just to sit and to listen to yourself and to find that stillness. And that's why I'm offering the discount on the Mastery Mentorship Program. My intuitive sessions are back up. I can do sound healing with you too. So please let me know if there's any way that I can help via a session and via some work together. I'm going to continue to do my 30 videos in 30 days challenge. I think we're on day 11 or 12 today. I got to post the video that I recorded. That's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, by the way, for the messages and the questions, because it's been amazing. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I set a challenge for myself a week or so ago to say, okay, 30 videos in 30 days. And I'm asking you to send me your questions. So you can DM me, send me an email, hit me up on Facebook or any of my social media, and just ask me what questions you want to know. Obviously, I'm only doing 30 videos, so I'm not going to get to all the questions, but if I feel like your question is one that would serve the collective and serve the number of people, the most number of people that we can, then I will certainly choose that question. And honestly, that's how I pick them. I just kind of go through the list of questions, and whichever one stands out as the one that's going bing, 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 pick me, then that's the one I pick. I think that's it. For those of you who are in LA, I'm going to be really backing off my days at House of Intuition. I have been doing Wednesdays and Thursdays and every other Saturday, but effective November, I'm only going to be doing Wednesdays there, because my own stuff is really starting to take off. And so I gotta really create more space in my calendar and in my life to focus on my own stuff, and so that I can have a fucking life. Because I have been working so hard lately, and I'm just finding myself like, oh, I just feel kind of wiped out. So I gotta create a little space for myself on my calendar so that I can have some time to myself. Because like I said, it's like everything has been getting the best of me, and I just get the rest of me. And by the end of the day, I'm like, okay, well, I have enough energy to, meditate and watch Netflix, and that's about it. But I just wanted to hop on today and share this with you guys. There is a message in the mess. Chaos is a gift that we give to ourselves. And while it is a really intense one, and we don't have the receipt, so no, you can't return it or exchange it, it is something that we dismantle our lives so that we can have the experience of mindfully and consciously and deliberately putting them back together. And that's what this passage is all about, is taking a really, really hard, honest look at like, okay, what's working, what's not, what's true, what's not, what has served its purpose, what is it time to let go of? And understanding that it's not always going to be easy. Like my last video showed you, letting go of that relationship and moving on. Well, it wasn't really a relationship, but we were in relation to each other. But moving on from that dude that I was hanging out with this summer was one of the hardest things I have ever done in my 47 years. But on the other side of that, I have rediscovered this strength in me, and I have found this new level of compassion for myself, and I have been able to dive even more deeply into my stuff to gain a new understanding for it and go, oh my God, there are always new layers to peel back. So the journey's never over. We're always moving towards a higher expression, right? We're always in a state of becoming. Source seeks expansion through experience. That's what it comes down to. So we're always looking for the next level of whatever we came here to do and to be, so that will always call us forward. You know, people ask me all the time, Andrew, am I on my path? Yeah, dude, if you're alive, you're on your path, period. The question now is, do you like the direction that your path is heading? And if you don't, what are you going to do about it? And if you don't know what you're going to do about it, maybe I can help. So that's it, you guys. I wanted to just hop on and say hi and chat with you. Thank you, as always, for watching. Thank you for giving me your time and attention. It is a privilege and an honor to connect with you in this way. I love you. Have a fabulous week, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Mwah.